Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing okay, not too bad. I'm just thinking about, living our day-to-day lives through all this chaos and insanity. And I was listening to a Israel News Live on how the Nephilim are still with us. And, um, yeah, he should know, you know. Uh, in a close association with them. So, yeah, of course they are. Then I was listening to a even better Hamish from High Frequency Tribe yesterday. It's from yesterday, called Suckers Shuffle Chairs. Um, it's pretty interesting. I'll share it in my community. It's just the way his outlook on like keeping a stable mind for his young son that he homeschools, and how him and his family, his wife and children, moved out into the country on a small ranch, and they're just doing their own thing. I mean, regardless of what's going on in the world, because the world leaders are insane. And that is my topic today, stemming off of what Israel News was talking about, and how he had a rabbi that, I mean, he's got a yarmulke, but is a proposed Christian. I don't get the fucking mix, you know. And I'm telling you, it is not the mix of what's going on here. Um, Christians do not become Jews. Christians are Jews. We are grafted into God's family, like the covenant he made with Abraham. That still has nothing to do with us personally. We do not follow the leader when it comes to another outlook on our doctrine. Um, I'll talk some more on that a little bit, but if I guess I'm gonna remain a bastard to Israel, if being a part of their family is God's family, if I have to follow their leadership in order to be grafted into my Heavenly Father's family, you can leave me the F out of it all. I don't want no part of it. So, and that's how I feel. It isn't, we're not being grafted in as a Jew. We're grafted into God's family as the Abrahamic tribes and nothing else. Like what? I'm going to become a Jew tomorrow so I can pretend that I'm chosen? Yeah, whatever. Excuse me. Cheers, everybody. It's just putrid. Like, you want me to pattern myself after fucking insanity and say I want to be grafted into this as one of somebody who I am not? I'm a Christian, not a Jew. I was almost going to get on here and say if being Christianity meant following Judaism, that you could leave me out of the whole thing. But they serve a different God, and I am not serving that one. You know, the fake, the Antichrist rises first. Who do you think everybody's patterning themselves after? It's not the Christ spirit that has these men's war, you know, and I don't want anything to do with, okay, I am not going to put my leadership skills aside to listen to some lesser little twerp that wants to be into Judaism before Christianity. That's how I feel about that. And I do have better judgment in that respect. We are not trying to become Jews. Why would you want to be? Because they say they're chosen. But what about Christ? You aren't going to hear that in a synagogue. Yeah, synagogue. Yeah, go listen to Israel News Live on that Nephilim and listen to what I'm talking about. I can't express it enough to show you the insanity of the whole thing. God's people do not lead other people in the wrong direction and pity them. No, I don't pity them. My pity is far decades gone for these monsters out on this planet. So if Christ has pity for them, maybe he can see a little deeper into their hearts. I can't. I don't see where they're using their hearts. So maybe hundreds of years from now, he'll be able to reach them. But in the normal scene of the way the world is and trying to guide people closer to God, they are not cutting it. So, and that's beyond poor leadership skills. That's intentional misrepresentation of what God tells his people to do. But a lot of people just don't get that. The same with all the warring, mad respect these people have for somebody that'll put on a uniform and say they're fighting for your freedom. You know, I debated whether or not to read a poem from a Native American, but I'm going to. I mean, many people don't care, but like Christopher Green on AMTV had mentioned it from what I understand. I didn't hear it. But he said if you want to know what's going on in Israel, study what happened to the Sioux people in the United States of America. No coincidence that that's my bloodline, but one of them, of course, how they were, same thing that's happening over on the Gaza Strip, only worse. But yeah, I mean, running after people that are not true leaders, that's a pretty dangerous thing. Above this poem that I shared off of a website called, or Facebook called Native American DNA, it's got a map, it's over on my Facebook, of the original Native American tribes in the United States. Okay, I'll put. And then we were found. The only thing they learned is there's one thing for sure, that the history is there who would write it, that those who those who would rule would give us their truth and force us all here to recite it. From ancient Greek cultures to grand Persian sultans to empires of Egypt and Rome, and China's Great Wall speaks nothing at all of culture and history at home. Was ours, wait, was ours nothing, not worth knowing, our people, our story of customs that long had been here, of a world that was true and not really brand new, on record for thousands of years. Their history portrays we were sadly misplaced when 3 Spanish ships ran aground, and 500 nations received their salvation after waiting so long to be found. Okay, I'm going to go on. I'm going to light a cigarette here. But we did pretty good for being lost in the woods, dating back to 10,000 BC. It's before that, actually. They think 20 or more, even 40,000 before Christ. Okay, but we did pretty good for being lost in the woods, dating back to 10,000 BC. Our writings have shown this long had been home, and something the Maya were proud of. For infinite seasons, their Garden of Eden was one they were never cast out of. The Anazis had built a place with cliffs, which spirits inspired thunder. This great canyon remains in Four Corners states, the Mecca they simply called wonder. So why weren't we schooled of our nations and jewels with tradition we still can remember? A culture so near that in 1200 years we've been taking a train up to Denver. For ancients involved with what they would call 3 sisters of corn, squash, and beans, and before they were found, the Great Serpent Mound was crowned at Ohio Bush Creek. The Chukchin tribe built their cities astride the greatest American rivers. One village, okay, just a minute, maintained and completely sustained 39,000 civilians. But one of the greatest nations of natives emerged for a Nahu reliance. From the Mexico Valley stood a glorious palace, brought forth by the Aztecs' alliance. The pyramid culture was left to the future, which spoke of the people's creator. And we truly admire the Inca Empire, which prospered around the equator. Okay, just a bit. Before they were found, Taino were strong and harvested land and the sea. They used ancient ways for travel and trade while maintaining guidelines for peace. For thousands of years, these nations were here with resources and wealth and with power. Sharing assets abound before they were found, before the fruit had turned sour. Then Columbus showed up with 3 loads of nuts, and Tejano received them as friends. The white folks had thought the natives were lost, and the natives were sure it was them. Okay, just a minute. Though cordial at first, this visit got worse. They resembled those guests we all know. They wear out their welcome, won't do what you tell them, and seems like they'll never go home. On the very next trip, they had 17 ships, and the natives will soon discover they weren't here to trade, but to kill and enslave and make riches for only each other. Okay, just a sec. In a 4-year time, 2/3 of them had died, a genocide in full swing. Slaying young and old for God and gold, for them was that very same thing. The Columbus regime was a killing machine, and it ruled with terror and fear. This man, once admired, was finally fired, so brutal he scared his own peers. But his rule still applied, that all natives must die throughout the Caribbean nations. And 1,000,000 once strong were soon dead and gone through murder, disease, and starvation. We were much better off back when we were lost, back when we could truly excel. One way or another, natives discovered Columbus was set here from hell. And this is the case to destroy a whole race with no trace of the hundreds of nations, telling the natives in class immersed in Euro trash is honored for killing their relatives. And by teaching our youth their version of truth is keeping their legend intact. They're entitled to keep their opinions they reap, but never entitled to facts. And that's where it is at. They're ashamed of the facts of what they had done to the natives. They can't figure it out just how to slide out from the lies that they have created. So on Columbus Day, we'll rain on parades to compete with the lies and distortion. The fact that their bending denies ethnic cleansing that's happening in massive proportions. If it's Columbus you want, he's yours, but don't flaunt by teaching this perjury in class. Though natives are known for signals and smoke, we don't need it blown up our ass. Author is Dax Koo Warden. That about says it all. Because what's being taught in schools is all lies, and they're not clearing it up to help the Native American people at all. And we were genocided far worse than any supposed whatever happened across the seas that we don't know for sure. I saw pictures, yeah, but and if it happened in your culture, you would be fully aware what happened to your tribes. And I'm just informing people what happened in the United States that still isn't rectified and is still going on. There has been Native Americans made to relocate as as recent as 2 years ago. That's why I will not shut up. I'll never shut up about it. These people deserve to be honored in their own country. And if you don't think so, you do have screws loose. And it's not that we're not all United States of America. It's that the leadership in America is pretending that Israel is a part of the United States. That's my issue with it all. Get the hell out of our country. We've had enough of your shit. And if I told you who backed those fleets coming to genocide us here, you wouldn't probably care, but you could probably guess by the tone of my voice. Yeah, take one guess. The same people that stay closely related, you know. I think a lot of people in the United States can relate because they have now mixed blood within with the Native American people, so there's a lot of us that are mixed, you know. But everybody's also worried what to put for your pronoun on your forms that you fill out and what color you are. But nobody's going to address the genocide that went in my country and is still being dishonored towards those people. I want to see a red chief in charge of the United States, a real commander in chief. If my heart or my brain were only that part of me, what makes up me, that was a red person, then that would perfectly describe the heart and the intelligence that's needed to lead other people. Not with murderous ways, but other ways, you know. And there's so many lies about the tribes that were warring against each other. And that's got to be cleared up also, you know. A lot of things need to be straightened right the hell out, you know. That poem should be read in every classroom in the United States, right up into the college years, and a part of history for the Native people. It's called doing what is right, you know. That's what righteousness is. It's not something we can pick and choose, you know. And I choose not to follow the people that made, sounds like hummus. They created it and turned it loose on their own people, and there's proof of it. It's just like our government. It doesn't stick up for the people of the United States. Not at all. They pretend, well, there's no threat to us. There's no reason, no earthly reason why we should be considering putting boots on ground in any other country. Fend for yourselves. Everybody's perfectly capable of doing that. Yeah, we are. Well, I guess that would entail men and women with a backbone and a mind of their own, not following the leader like Simon says. Another name for Satan, by the way. Yeah, it is. Oh, here's something. Maybe I need to read this. What does this say? This is from a friend. Let's see. Yahweh's complaint to Jeremiah. You think that you're safe to do all these disgusting things? The house that is called by my name has become a gathering place for thieves. I have seen what you are doing, declares Yahweh. The Judahites are worshiping Baal, just as the Israelites in Samaria had done, and Yahweh warns Jeremiah that Judah will be destroyed the same way Israel was if Baal worship does not cease. I will force you out of my sight as I forced all your relatives, all of Ephraim's descendants. Jeremiah 7:15. Perfect. Oddly, I was just talking about that very thing of not being led by these people that say they're of God. They carry his name. They're not my relatives. And I don't want to be related. People living in America wanting to go fight over there. Yeah. Why don't you fight in your own communities and find a real American to stand up for you that wouldn't lead you into war? How about that? I'm just sharing that meme that I just read to you. Definitely a share-worthy one to let people know how God feels about Israel. And in fact, if you want to go a little deeper into it, he says he hates them. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't just hate what they're doing, he hates them. Oh, hate the sin, not the person. No, he hates them. Because they're called by his name, but that's not who they are. It is true. I'm not just picking on people to pick on them. I'm telling you the truth so you don't fall into this bullshit of thinking that you're standing up for a people that do not care about you. I just read it to you. They're serving Satan. One of my funnier friends on Facebook, he put the F you are you trying to say, lady? He's married. Her, you want to go upstairs? Me. Sure. Her, you got protection? Me. Well, why? What's up there? That's a good one. That's funny. Yeah, Christians, why are you not looking at the past? Jesus was killed by the Jews. Their priest fell. They're the fallen. That's who they are. That's the Antichrist that's being rose first. Their God, their Christ, the Antichrist. Them that say they are Jews but do lie. That's just what's going on. Here's one out of Matthew 14:14. And when Jesus went out, he saw a great multitude, and he was moved with compassion for them and healed their sick. Well, yeah. If that already happened, then there's some that weren't healed. In fact, that is in the scriptures too, where he's just not going to help them because they, number one, don't want the help. But a lot of people think, well, it's not very Christian-like to have like hatred for somebody, because Christ instructs us to love everybody. You love your neighbor as your brother, as yourself. And I've told people the definition of neighbor means mindset in close proximity to you. And he was talking to his disciples when he said, above all, love one another. He wasn't talking to the whole world, but people just insist that he was. Well, there's a separation between wheat and tares, and that's exactly what's going on. It's not a debate on that. It's a fact, you know. When you take the trash out, you don't bring it back in, you know. When you have the Church of Satan, you don't welcome it into your Christian communities, you know. And if you look at Stalin, Marxism, how do I word this? Or do I just say it? Communism. There's a handbook that they are going, a playbook on how to destroy a country from the inside out. And it's being implemented. And all the things I talk about, that's exactly what they're doing. Right down to genetic modification and gender confusion, all of it. Even this confusion within Christianity, that Christians think that they have to become a Jew to be part of God's family. You couldn't be further from the truth. It's the other way around. We're trying to convert the Jews into the Christ Godhead, not the other way around. They're pretending Christ didn't already come down into human flesh and walk with people. They're pretending God didn't walk with people, that they don't have to obey the laws on their heart that are obviously here for you and I. Why don't they see it? Because they don't care. They see it. They're ignoring it intentionally. That's why God hates them. It's really simple. It's like when somebody hurts your child and you hate them for it, you know? There's just nothing after that, you know? You can feel a certain amount of compassion. It's not gonna help you or your kid. Now, I'm not talking about hanging on to anger or anything. I'm talking about the initial protection of your child that was violated. And after that, that trust is broken. You're definitely not going to let this person or people back around your child. And they sacrifice their own children with the lies. It's like handing your child over to Satan with lies that you would perpetuate for your own pocketbook. Who in their right mind would do that? And furthermore, who in their right mind would call for somebody else to go fight a war for you or me? What the hell is wrong with people? You know, the saddest thing to me is the Native Americans that are veterans. That just kills my heart. That they would join in the patriotism of the war machine, because that's how they were taught. And no, the natives weren't just war machines before the white people got here. Stop your bullshit. Stop it right now. It wasn't like that. And the elders of those communities, they know the truth. And I'm telling you the truth. So, most of you don't have parents with connections to the bloodlines that were warring and don't know a whole lot about it or why it happened. And if you really don't have that knowledge, you just really shouldn't speak about it. You probably are offending, and I've been by people that do not know history and they don't even want to learn it. That's the sickest part of it all. I don't know if it's out of greed or just pure demonic possession or what people are thinking when they overlook what's still happening to the red people in our very own country. I passed around a photo a few days ago, something I don't see very often. It was a family, a mom and dad, and a little girl, a little boy of Native Americans, and they all had big smiles on their faces. Not something you see a lot. It was good to see. That's why I shared it. It's like, wow. Because with my full-blooded Native friends, when I could get them to laugh, that was a really big deal. You know, first, if you can get them to like you, if you have white blood in you and you can get your Native friend to like you just did something very few people can do. You know, I know some people that can do that. But these people still live with a whole lot of pain because nobody cares about them. you know? Or very few people do, you know? And then we got these people like Lizzie Warren, I won't say her whole name because whatever, pretending she's Native American, and Buffy St. Marie, all these people that pretend they're Native to just to get jobs in my country. They have to lie that they're somebody that they're not. And like with Warren, she is a member of Congress and got hired as an intern on that lie. As far as I'm concerned, all the money that she made from the Americans, taxpayers, the United States, she owes to the people on that lie. Somebody else should have got that position. What if that could have been me? Because I wouldn't be lying when I said I had that heritage. But she had to lie to get that position, you know? Could say, well, she was qualified. Was she? You're telling me that these people that are in Congress are qualified to lead your life and the life of your children? Do you see what's going on in the world? Seems to be some leadership lacking. They're not putting God first. There's no way. Don't tell me Israel's putting God first. The nation that calls themselves Israel. Not who God knows is his Israel. The remnant he saved. The only worthy remnant he saved. Well, they don't live in the Middle East. But people are going to find that out when it's way too late for them. Most people. I don't know how people feel when I talk about natives. It's like, do you even understand the genocide that's going on around the whole world and who's responsible? Do you even understand how important it is to get the truth out about our own country and make that right first? We can do that. It's not going to hurt any of us. Nothing's going to change for the worse. You'd only have larger groups of people taking care of the planet, planting trees, keeping the water clean, making sure you had good food and good clothes and quality items instead of selling ourselves out to what we call our enemies. To me, anybody that has sold land to people from other countries without them being a citizen is treasonous. And those that have dual citizenship and incite the United States people into their wars for their country of preference, like the Jews who say they're Jews first before they're a United States citizen, get the hell out of here. You're treasonous. My Constitution, our Constitution, says you're treasonous. And I'd like to see that implemented on all of them, if you know what that entails. Would I really want to see somebody die for not caring about you? I'd rather see him in prison forever, to be honest. But whatever is going to shut their big fat mouths at this point and save the next generation from all the hell that the rest of us has suffered for decades. If I could save you from that, whatever it takes. Jail cells would be good. That'd suffice. Yeah, well, the thing is, the genocides that are going on around the world, even the Israel with their own people, um, that's what's going on. The trial run period for people is over. It's just more of the same, and it'll always be more of the same until more people start standing up against the biggest money making racket on the earth, being that war machine. I don't think most people actually want to be a party to murder, but that's what you're paying for, whether you like it or not. I don't like it. I've never been a supporter of it in any way. And we don't have to play with them. We can let them play their own games, you know? It's when the American people get behind all that bullshit and support it that I really gotta say, who am I surrounded by? What the hell are you thinking when I'm not scanning your thoughts? The depth of the stupidity inside there. Well, once again, if you're Christian, you're not trying to become a Jew. You're a branch of Judaism, an Abrahamic religion. You are not Jewish. If you want to be, I would suggest don't call yourself a Christian. And I do not know why Christians wear yarmulkes. Have no clue. That just does not make sense to me. They don't go together. But for some reason, we've got these people out there that are trying to combine the two when they're separate. You don't combine religions. Not when it comes to Christ. We believe he paid for our sins, that God loves us, they're still under the laws of sin. And that's what you're opening yourself up for, like, none of my sins were paid for, that you still have to pay penance for something you never did. That's ridiculous. They're calling you dirty even if you're not dirty. You could be white as a lamb. They don't care. You're goy. You're cattle. Under servitude to them. That's not my God. God's not their God. I told you who their God is. People really need to wake up to that. It's just the name that throws you off what they're calling themselves, you know? Yeah, it's sad. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing we can do. But the biggest thing you can do for yourself is not to fall for what's going on, you know? Well, that's probably about it for today. I hope I really made my point with the millions of lives that were lost in our country. The natives aren't out there with their commercials, with their babushkas on, saying, oh, we're freezing, and they could be freezing, and nobody gives. And most people really don't. And they're hardworking, and they're good people, and they do not get the recompense that they deserve, which is actually their land back. Israel wants their land, why wouldn't the natives want theirs? Well, Israel wasn't there. There were Jews there, but it wasn't them. These are from the Slavic nations and other nations around that call themselves a people that they are not. They call themselves by Israel, and that's not who they are. So I hope I reached at least one person with all of it. I appreciate you joining me. Have a really good night or day and a beautiful weekend. I love you all. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.